Hi everyone, it's Heidi Smith here from flutterbyheidi.co.uk, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in the United Kingdom. And today, back with my fancy folds. This is a variation on a fold that's been around lots of years, and I just thought I'd recreate it using the new twill tidings and perfectly plaid, but pairing it with twill tidings rather than with the plaid ones that we've got. So that's the stamp set I'm using, and the fancy fold is a little bit of a pop-up card, but it also becomes an easel card. If you have a look at it sideways on here, you can see that there's a little frame there, a little stepper, and yeah, so that's what we're going to make. Another little bit on it, just to show you, is this little flap actually is hinged, so that when it opens up, your little Christmas tree isn't kind of pointing down. It's actually, if I show you there, it kind of fills in the gap as well. So it's just a couple of little variations really, and this paper isn't one that I warmed to immediately, to be honest with you. I mean, I do like the very vanilla with it. So on the one side we've got plaid or check, and the other side in garden green and very vanilla. The other side is cherry cobbler, and that's the same on the other paper as well. So on the one side it's the cherry cobbler, and on the other side it's the garden green. A couple of things to note on this, some coordination opportunities. So these little trees and the rabbit and the fox all coordinate with the Nature's Beauty stamp set which you've got here. So that was the other one I was thinking about using with this, because that would go really well. However, I went for the one with the punch rather than fussy cutting. This stamp set, really one close to my heart. This is for mental health charities, so whenever you buy this stamp set, then you will be donating to mental health charities as well. So a really good cause, and if you've got anybody in your life who loves wildlife, this is one. Some super tree images along with some lovely nature's ones. So that's the stamp set we're using. I've done quite a bit of the cutting in advance because I will give you the measurements, and all the measurements will be on my blog as well. I just thought it was you know, just a nice variation really, and using quite a few punches. You could vary the size of your punches depending on what you've got. I'll be quite honest, I couldn't find my 2-inch punch, so I'm using my starburst punch. Quite simple. Don't ask me where I've put it, but hey, I'm sure it'll turn up. So to start off with, I will work in centimetres today, just because it just makes it easier. I will do my best to get an inches conversion and pop those onto my blog as well for you. So, piece of cardstock which I've already cut. This is to 29.5 by 10.5 centimetres. So you can see just hit the 10.5, and you're just going to do a little bit of scoring. You're going to score at 10 centimetres and at 20.5 centimetres. Hopefully that is all. I've done the rest of the cutting, so I won't have to get that out again. It is just a bit awkward with my setup here when I'm filming. So once you've done that, just fold and burnish, you know, reinforce those score lines, and you will see that you have one section which is a bit shorter than the other. So this is the one where we're going to be punching our hole to start off with. So I'm using the 2¼ inch punch, and I'm just coming in and kind of eyeballing it really. I probably ought to make that would be really helpful, wouldn't it, if I actually made a line as to where the middle actually is, but I'm just going to eyeball it. Hey, you know, live dangerous. And for those of you who struggle, push down on it. Once you've got it set up, you're fine. Actually, I've done a pretty good job of eyeballing that. Hey, so that goes to one side. So you've got a nice aperture here, and then we're going to start popping our layers on. Now, I would recommend when you do this that you do one layer at a time and then punch, because otherwise you're going to really strain your punch. So to start off with then, for this section here, she says. Okay. I've actually cut that to... Okay. I've forgotten to cut one of my pieces. That's okay. I knew this would happen, always the way. So for the front panel, you're going to need a piece of card that is 10 by 8.5 centimetres. I knew I'd got too much card left. Right, so just cut that at 8.5 centimetres by 10 centimetres. Okay, so that's the piece that's going to go on the front there. And then we're going to cut some designer series paper as well. It's going to go into that section. And I'm going to cut this. I'm actually going to cut it at 10 because that gives me kind of a third of my paper left. There we go. Right. So we want this piece actually to be 9.5 by 7. So I'm going to cut my 7. And then cut this to 9.5. And the reason was I just wanted to leave my other pieces a more even size. Okay, right. So we're going to pop our piece of cherry cobbler on here. Now I'm going to use my fuse. Just pop that in there. Then you're going to come in with your punch again and punch out. Okay, then do exactly the same with your designer series paper. So again, just light. And now I've cut that too small. Okay, it is going to be one of those, folks. Okay, let me just check. 9.5 by 8. Measure twice, cut once, what they always say. Yeah, I want it 8 centimetres. Okay, never mind. Very quickly, what I did was I looked at the wrong measurements. As you probably gathered, if I show you, so I write my measurements out here. And then obviously when I refer to them, it's not always easy to remember to refer to the right ones, especially when you make a mess of things. I was really good there. I was going to say something else, not quite so polite. So pop your paper on. And then we go. Again, turn it over. And punch. Okay. So then we've got our front layer. Okay. Next, we're going to pop our inner layers on. So this is 10 by 9.5. And I say, there's something about cherry cobbler. It's a really nice warm kind of colour that I really rather like, actually. It's not quite as harsh as some of the other reds. Well, it's not fair to say harsh. It's obviously it's the Regals, so it's not designed to be as bright. It's got that richness, which I think particularly when we're working on Christmas, it's a really nice colour. Okay, so there's our cherry cobbler cardstock. Obviously you could gut that if you wanted to help keep the weight down. This next layer of designer series paper, 9.5 by 9 centimetres. I mean, the great thing about this paper is if you like this design, then you've got a really nice layer already. So there we go. Then we're making a little stepper. So we've got 9.5 by 2 centimetres of cherry cobbler and 9.5 by 1.5 of the paper. And you just need some dimensionals to pop that up onto to create our stepper. So just grab a couple of those. Like so. And I'm putting this right down at the bottom there. Okay, so there's our stepper. Now, the next section that we're going to do is this part here. So we're going to punch 2 of our circles in our starburst. Okay, I'm going to just take a bit of cardstock. Actually, look at that. I've got a more frugal piece that I can use. There we go. I do find with this punch, if you can do it pressing down a hard surface, because of all the little serrations around the edge, it's quite a tough punch to use. So that's always good, if you can really get it. And then with one of them, just fold it in half and reinforce. And with the second one, we're going to pop it and glue it like so. So what I'm going to do here is pop my glue on the bottom half and then just pop it in, just because you want to make sure that it's not going to foul on the edge of that. Okay. And then these pieces you're not going to punch out. So this is to cover up part of that hole. So this is a piece which is 10 by 10 centimetres. So that's just going to pop in. I will double check. That is 10 by 10. I don't know if it's actually 10 by 10.5. I'll just quickly check that for you. Oh, and what I hadn't intended, yes, I'll show you what I did then. So yeah, 10 by, yeah, it is 10 by 10. And what you're going to do is, where you've got the glue on the other side, that's where you're going to pop your little flap. Okay, so just like so. Just tuck it in. There we go. So that's then becoming our little flap. So now we want to do some punching and we want to do some stamping. So we need a piece of very vanilla, which is 9.5 by 7 centimetres. And I'm going to use this for my sentiment. So again, use our grid paper just to centre it. And I just like this sentiment. May this special season be wrapped in love and joy. Some other nice ones. Just, I mean, there's a simple Merry Christmas. Hoping your busy year comes together in Christmas cheer. So, you know, there's several to choose from in that. And actually what I'm going to do, which I didn't do on my other one, is I'm going to use my Christmas tree and stamp that on the inside there as well. But just on the one side. So sorry, I'm just looking for my, there we go. Okay, one Christmas tree. So now I want to stamp and punch some of my other Christmas trees as well. And the best way I've found to do this is to stamp the Christmas tree first. Like so. Then come in and punch those. You see it's quite a nice margin around that. So just punch out. And again, like so. Then I've got a little bit of early espresso, and this is the best way to get the tree trunk in. There's a little image here, which is the tree trunk. And I'm just going to pop that in on the bottom there, on each of my little trees. Badly, as I did on that one. Okay, there we go. So, now, let's get our card together. So we're going to pop our panel into the centre here. And this panel is not going to go in upside down, it's going to go in like that. Then what I'm going to do is pop my Christmas tree, and you see you can just pop it into that aperture there. Just make sure it doesn't come to the top. going to pop another Christmas tree onto the front there, but I'm going to pop that one up onto dimensionals as well. So just a dimensional. I'm just going to use a piece of dimensional on the top there. Nails are in a shocking state as usual. Yesterday we were cleaning out the chicken coop, so it's a little bit grubby, so there we go. And then all that's left is for me to pop another couple of Christmas trees, I've done an extra one already, onto the very front there as well. So with those, I quite like when I'm doing something like this to pop one sort of flat and then pop the second one up on dimensionals. It's just one of those things I like to do. Okay, scissors. I'm just using up some of the scraps as I'm going along rather than waiting till the end. Again, just pop those backs off the dimensionals. This is where I suddenly look up and find I've got no time left. You'll be familiar with that by now. Everything gets a bit mad, but I'm fine for time. So there you have, I think it's called a peekaboo fold, if I remember. But either way, you have a pair of peekaboo easel cards ready for Christmas, perhaps for someone a little bit more special. But here we go. So from the front, from the side, lots of space for a bit of a sentiment, and have a lovely Christmas. I can't believe I'm talking about Christmas already. It is racing around. Thanks for watching. Do come back and see me soon for more chaos in the craft room. Take care now. Don't forget, pop along to my blog for dimensions, or pop along to my Stampin' Up shop to make your purchase at heidismith.stampinup.net, and follow the links to buy your items. I think the Perfectly Plaid stamp set and punch is absolutely fantastic, and the Twirl Tidings has really grown on me, so I think I'll be buying some more of that too. Take care now. Bye.